Don't look now, but PCA is heating up, and it could not come at a better time for the Chicago Cubs. Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of Chicago Cubs Central, your number one spot for all things Chicago Cubs. I am your host, Mike Jones, here with another episode. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe so that you never miss any other content we have going on right here on the channel. Now, with that being said, listen, y'all, I am really digging where PCA is right now. So at one point, last year, I remember PCA looked like a legitimate National League MVP candidate. And then there came the slump. And that slump lasted for a good long while for him. And like I said, he did some cool things in the playoffs, but he just never really felt like he was back again, or like that he was still maintaining at that same level. And again, he struggled. But you know what they say about good players? They only struggle for so long. And guys, like I said, I look at PCA and I look at what he's doing right now, and I look at how hot of a bat he's swinging. Got another home run tonight. Also, the way that he's playing the outfield, he's back in his head, back playing baseball the way that we've known him to play it, showing you why we signed him to that large extension, showing you why we want him to be at the forefront of this team. But more importantly than any of that, this year he's taking on more of the captain role. And that's something that I want to talk about too. But PCA literally is just showing you what type of player he is. So over the last 2 months, we're seeing like something different come from this kid. We're seeing the version of Crow-Armstrong that can literally carry a franchise. The question is, can PCA make another run at the MVP conversation? I'm not saying win the MVP. I think that is too much in the air when you have a once-in-a-lifetime talent such as a Shohei Ohtani. And then in the same breath, you got those boys playing for, the Braves too, and they're winning games also and look great. So, again, you look at that and you say to yourself, it's just going to be tough for him to win it. He's going to have a remarkable season. But to join the conversation in itself is something that I think is an accomplishment for Pete. I mean, literally, this is year 3 for him, and he's already taking over as not only the face of Chicago sports, along with Caleb Williams and Colson Montgomery. I'm Murakami. I'm gonna give them their credit over there on the White Sox side, but at the same time, he's also leading this team on a team full of people that's supposed to be leaders. You know, you look at your Ian Happs, you look at your Dansby Swansons, you look at your Alex Bregmans, and sure, all these guys supposed to be leaders, supposed to be, the voices and whatnot. But Pca Armstrong, emotional support, the way that he's talking, the way that he's walking, the way that they're talking about him in interviews, the way he's talking in interviews, leads you to believe this kid, but not only believes in this team, but believes in himself. And I love that. This guy is getting superstar production. Let's talk about this. He's producing again. During the Cubs' recent road trip, PCA put together one of his best stretches of baseball this season. He carried an 18-game on-base streak while hitting .364 with a 654 slugging percentage. He continued to provide power, speed, and game-changing defense. I'm going to tell you something. For the Cubs, that's just not good. That's not just good. That is superstar production. And I love the fact that, above all, the power is still there. One concern during this slump was whether the power surge we saw from earlier in the season and from last season would disappear. And it hasn't. PCA continues to hit the ball with authority. Recently, he homered on the very first pitch of a game against San Francisco and nearly hit for the cycle in the same contest. Then he turned around and did hit for the cycle. Then he turned around and did also get a home run on his first AB. He also homered tonight again for the Chicago Cubs. He's on a 3-game homer streak, and again, just playing great baseball. Earlier this month, he delivered a 2-run homer performance and helped the Cubs win a dramatic walk-off victory. Big players show up in big moments, and PCA is showing you that there is none bigger in Chicago, maybe outside of a Caleb Williams right now, than him. When the Chicago Cubs need him to come through for them, PCA is there, Johnny on the spot every time. You may not like him. You may not like what he does. You may not like what he said to the White Sox fan. You may not like the way he carries himself. You may think he's a douchebag. You may feel all these different types of feelings about PCA, but he don't care. I actually think that it turns him on to be the villain. I think he enjoys being the villain for the other team. And I think he enjoys being someone that is hated because it turns him into what he wants to be most. And that's the best version of himself for his team and for his city. If you rock with PCA, I think he rocks with you. If you don't like PCA, he don't like you. And it's simple as that. And I think that he takes it personally. And I think that he carries himself like that. The emotional side of PCA is one thing that I think this team is missing. A lot of these guys are just robots. PCA is an emotional player, and he feels everything. And I want him to feel it because it's going to cause him and drive him to play better. It's going to cause him to obsessively obsess over the game and try to get better as much as possible around the margins so that he can lead this team to where they need to be, which is the promised land, which is hopefully one day a World Series. Now, again, all the offensive stuff is great, but the calling card for PCA coming into the league was his speed and the fact that he was an elite defender. Now, what separates PCA from most MVP candidates is that his value doesn't begin and end with the bat. As of June 2026, Pca leads all National League players in SABR Defense Index, further cementing his status as one of baseball's premier defensive players. Even if he's not hitting home runs every night, he's impacting the game with his glove. And that matters a lot. Think about defensive runs saved. Think about just how often he is able to stop teams in their tracks. I mean, it's like a black hole out there in center field because he just swallows everything up. Pause. He just gets everything. I think that he is still one of the best. And in my eyes, I think that he is the guy for the job. Now, what we're seeing this year, and Alex Cohen, shout out to Alex Cohen, because he's been the one that has really been championing this, and he's been the one that's really been saying this, and I can't help but agree with him. PCA is becoming more of a complete player. Everybody enjoyed what we saw last year from PCA, including myself. I think we saw him do some really crazy things with the glove. I think we saw him do some really great things, having a 30-30 season with the ABs, as well as stealing bases and everything like that. But he was still striking out a bunch. But this year, his maturity at the plate has grown, and that's what's making him more of a complete player. So many analysts point out all the time of his improvements in his discipline and his approach, helping him become more of a complete offensive player. The raw talent has never been in question. Everybody knew from the time we traded for him from the Mets, everybody knew PCA had the raw talent. The thing was, we needed to see his growth and maturity as a ball player. We needed to see him be able to take walks, to not just swing at everything, to not swing at bad pitches in the dirt, to not, get those stupid outs, but to literally wait on his pitch. And PCA recently in his interview talked about it as recent as Tuesday night when he said that he's just been trying to wait on his pitch, be patient, and take what the offense gives him. And literally, and take what the defense gives him. And literally, it has proven dividends for him as we see him continuously hitting home runs, continuously doing what he needs to do to lead and guide this team to be the best version of themselves. The growth of PCA is what should excite the Cubs fans the most, because they literally are showing you who they are and what they can be. And again, PCA is leading the charge in that. Matt Shaw is another one that's showing you what he can be and what he is growing into being. And so for Chicago Cub fans, you have a reason to get excited when you see guys that are finally progressing, young guys that are finally progressing and becoming what you need them to be. Let's be realistic about PCA. The MVP race is crowded. But again, he is somebody that can absolutely make a splash and be number 4, number 5 in the MVP race, maybe number 3 if all things go well. PCA offers you power, speed, elite defense, highlight reel plays, national recognition, the ability to take over games. He'll be an all-star again this year, and just everything that he is able to do. Very few players in baseball can impact the game in every phase the way that he does. But that's exactly what PCA does. He is becoming a complete player, a better ball player. And again, y'all, you know the crazy part, the scary part in all this, because something that should have Cub fans super excited. We haven't seen the best of PCA yet. We still have not seen everything that he's going to bring to the table. MLB observers have continued to point toward Crow-Armstrong as one of the most exciting young stars in all of baseball. His contribution of power and speed has already placed him among historic company, and his development remains one of the biggest reasons for optimism in Chicago. One of the most encouraging things surrounding PCA is that he keeps learning and adjusting. As one fan discussion noted, he's constantly working to improve and evolve as a hitter. So I'm going to be real with y'all. The Cubs have struggled. The offense has been inconsistent. The season hasn't gone the way many fans expected so far. But the Chicago Cubs are still above 500. The Chicago Cubs still right now will be, if the season were to end today, will be battling for a wild card spot. And like I said, the Chicago Cubs are still very much so in this. And PCA is a big reason why. Pca Armstrong continues to remind everyone why he's one of the most important players in the organization. His power is returning. His confidence is growing. The defense remains elite. And if the Cubs fans are going to make any kind of second half push, it will have to start with number 4. So I'll leave you with this question. I want you guys to comment below your thoughts. Is Pca Armstrong about to put himself back in the National League MVP conversation? Let me know you guys' thoughts on that. And of course, as always, baby, whenever the Chicago Cubs win a game, we got to fly that W flag as they go ahead and take care of business against the Colorado Rockies. Thank you all so much for tuning in to this episode. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe so that you never miss any of the action right here on Chicago Cubs Central, your number one spot for all things Chicago Cubs. Go Cubs, go. Peace.
Thank you for watching another episode of Chicago Cubs Central, the number one spot for all Chicago Cubs content. Remember to like, share, subscribe for more Cubs content.